Nikhil, while of course we're talking it as an upset for England, what a confidence boost really for the team of Afghanistan, isn't it?
Well, Pooja, I think what we've just witnessed is the greatest win for Afghanistan
Yes.
in their history. Remember, they had played two World Cups before this. They made their World Cup debut in 2015. Got a win in their first ever World Cup, but that came against Minnows, Scotland. That wasn't even a test playing country. So that was a game that they were expected to win. So the only win that they got in a World Cup was against a Scottish team that were clearly the Minnows, clearly a lower ranked team than Afghanistan. So you expected Afghanistan to win on that occasion. Then they go to the 2019 World Cup, where you have a round robin format that you've seen in this World Cup, and have to finish the entire World Cup without a single win. Many expected by that time, because Afghanistan had been growing in international cricket. A lot of their players play, these franchise-based leagues. So expected Afghanistan to win a game or two in 2019. They could not win a single game, and that was a big disappointment. And people thought that they flattered to deceive. Then they come to this World Cup. Not many had given them a chance. And guess what? They've registered in the third game that they've played their first win. But what makes this win very special? Because it comes again, it's their first win in a World Cup against a test playing nation. That is what will make it special. And let's not forget, Pooja, this has come against the current world champions. So England are the 50 over world champions. Let's not forget, England are also the current T20 world champions. So in white ball cricket, there is no better team than England. They came into this tournament as one of the favorites to win this particular tournament and probably defend their title. Afghanistan have gone ahead and beaten them, and might I add, on a Delhi ground, because this ground was expected to favor the English team. This is one of the highest scoring grounds. We've seen two matches before this. The first match saw a record World Cup score set up by South Africa. Then you saw India play Afghanistan here, where they completely, even though Afghanistan batted well, but they completely, decimated their bowling with the kind of batting that India showed. So you knew this was a high-scoring ground.
So then what happened?
Bat first,
Nikhil, then what do you think clicked for Afghanistan at a time like this, that they managed to make a set up for England?
A few things that worked for them, Pooja. Firstly, I think they batted sensibly. They wanted to attack a bit, so they realized that maybe 280-84 is their best chance to win a game here. If you had asked any other team, they would have actually aimed at a 320 score on this Delhi ground. It's a small ground with a very good pitch. So 320 seems like a par total. But Afghanistan did not get carried away. I think what Afghanistan did very well is realize that that's not their strength. Batting is not their strength. So instead of aiming for 320, you could collapse for about 220, which would then be a disaster, and it would mean a walk in the park for the English team. So I think their calculation that, okay, let's get to 280, 290 and give ourselves a chance, because our bowling is our strength, not our batting. So they get to 284. Kudos to Rahmanullah Gurbaz, who gets that 80, the highest run scorer for Afghanistan. And Indian fans would know Rahmanullah Gurbaz very well, because he plies his trade in the IPL, plays for the Gujarat team, which finished runners-up this time, were the champions previously. So Indian fans know him. He's a dashing opener, plays aggressive cricket, so gets you an 80 odd this time. Sets up the base. They have a mini collapse in the middle, but their tail ender, because they bat very deep, their tail really helps them to take the team to 284. But I must add and be very honest that even in that mid innings, even though they took themselves to the best possible total that Afghanistan could have taken, nobody would have given them a chance. That's simply because England arguably has the best batting lineup, the best depth in their batting lineup across all teams in this World Cup. So you would have, given England a clear-cut chance of winning this game. But then Nikhil, what happened is unbelievable.
But and Nikhil, they've lost 2 out of 3 games already. Can we say that defending champions are definitely losing out this campaign already?
I think it's unexpected. Let's be honest about it. It's unexpected. If you had told me at the start of the tournament that at the end of 3 games, England would have lost 2 games, I probably would have never believed you. So what has happened is unthinkable at the moment. And I'm not just talking about this Afghanistan defeat. The first game, the opener of this World Cup, was exactly the repeat of the last time final 2019. It was between England and New Zealand. And on that occasion, England, I think, underwhelmed a bit with the bat, and New Zealand chased it down. But that wasn't a big surprise, because New Zealand, as we know, are a very competitive team, especially at the ICC level. They played the final last time against England. So you knew that, they were there and thereabouts. England may have been slight favorites, but if New Zealand were to beat England, it wasn't a massive upset. And so that's exactly what happened. New Zealand beat England. At that time, the narrative was that probably this is that one bad day that England has got. After this, they will get into the groove. They'll show you why they are the bosses in white ball cricket. And from here on, you'll expect England to win everything. That's not to be. They won their next game against Bangladesh quite convincingly. And you thought that England would make it, 2 wins out of 3 because they were up against an Afghanistan team that had lost their 2 previous games. That wasn't to be, which is what I'm saying. This is the first upset of this tournament, a big upset of this tournament, and the biggest day in Afghanistan cricket because they've beaten this English team,
Nikhil,
which is
for
the
my
defending
understanding,
champion.
does this make a difference to the points table already with the losses and the victories that have come as a surprise this time?
It does. And I think it sets the cat amongst the pigeons. What has happened, and it sets up the tournament really nicely. Which are the 2 sets of supporters that be most happy right now? Those are going to be the Australian supporters, because Australia, remember, have also lost games in this tournament. That also.
Okay, Nikhil, I seem to have some audio link issue with you. Just stay on, because that's the big breaking that we have right now. What an upset for England that Afghanistan has won this game, and of course, well fought, well deserved for a team like Afghanistan, a confidence boost for them as well. But for now, we can say that this is the second World Cup loss, that means, for the world champions. They are the defending champions, and they've already lost 2 out of 3. England was beaten by Afghanistan by 69 runs, and 215 was the score at this point. So this is what the big news currently is. How should we see this in terms of how Afghanistan team is going to react? Because we know that Afghanistan has cheered for the Indian team often. Indian team has cheered for Afghanistan. Very different from how India and Pakistan team and fans react. So therefore, in many ways, it's going to be a cheer that Afghanistan is getting from many countries. It is going to be eventually for the game, for a boost for a team like Afghanistan.
Well, Pooja, there is a bit of a context here, and let's not forget that this victory has come for years. Delhi NCR region, especially Greater Noida area, was Afghanistan's home ground. Remember, Afghanistan could not play their cricket at home. So
True.
Noida and Greater Noida was Afghanistan's home ground. So whenever they played a bilateral series, they had to play in Greater Noida in a stadium not too far away from the Firozshah Kotla ground, now known as the Arun Jaitley Stadium, not too far away from them. So this was their home base. So you would expect Afghanistan to know the conditions here. They get a lot of support today. This is a World Cup where we're not seeing full houses. It was almost a full house today. Afghanistan playing England, no Indian team playing. A lot of them stay in Delhi, all turning up to the stadium. So it's a very special place also for Afghanistan to register their first win in World Cup against a test-playing country. Also, let's not forget, Afghanistan has not been able to. This is a country, which is going through issues at home.
Absolutely.
Which is not ideal. They do not get a lot of opportunity to play against top teams. That is the other thing that goes against this team. Against all those odds of what's happening in their country, against all the odds of not getting a chance to play top-level teams on a regular basis, despite that, Afghanistan comes and registers this win, which is why I said, and that too in Delhi, as I said, which has been their home, Delhi NCR region for a very long time. I think it makes it really, really
special. That's a lovely trivia. Lovely trivia, Nikhil. Well. Not many would know about this Delhi NCR connection too. Tell me and tell the viewers a little bit about Afghanistan team, because it has had its share of losses, not getting the sort of victories or even perhaps coaching that it deserved. And then since the Taliban takeover, couldn't even go back home. So there was a lot playing within the Afghanistan team. So tell us how we can see that it's clearly growing in the manner in which it's reflecting on the ground. And when you beat a team like England, there's clearly a lot to show with 284. That's a big enough score.
Well, absolutely, Pooja. I think what is really interesting, and if you follow cricket regularly, you realize in terms of the talent that's coming through, Afghanistan are second to none. Dare I say that you see the other subcontinental teams like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. Dare I say that Afghanistan probably has a better bunch of talented players coming through. What that tells you is that cricket and the popularity of the sport in Afghanistan in the last decade or so has multiplied many a fold. So you can see the amount of talent. There is a spinner called Noor who is one of the most outstanding spinners in international cricket. And as I said, we know about Rahmanullah Gurbaz, the batter. Noor also plays for the Gujarat team in the IPL. And a lot of Indian fans would know he was as lethal as Rashid Khan, the biggest star that you know in Afghanistan team during the IPL. And you know what? Noor cannot get a place in the Afghanistan 11. That tells you the kind of talent that they have with them at the moment. Now, you talk about the composition of the team. Let me tell you, they have so many stars that the Indian fans would be very familiar with. Rahmanullah Gurbaz, the opener who got you runs, plays for Gujarat. Noor, as I mentioned, a left-arm mystery spinner, again, plays for the Gujarat team. Rashid Khan, the biggest star that there is in Afghanistan, and he's an international star, a certified international cricket star. He plays for the Gujarat team. And you know what? When he came out to walk today, when he came out to bat, I read a few reactions on social media with people that were present at the ground. And they said the kind of roar that went inside the Firozshah Kotla, inside the Arun Jaitley Stadium, was similar to when an Indian batter actually comes out.
Wow.
That's how much Indian crowds actually love Rashid Khan, because of him plying his trade in the IPL and doing so well there consistently. He's in the top wicket taker. So Rashid Khan is there. Mohammad Nabi is another certified star who's played IPL for a very long time. So they have a bunch of people that play, franchise-based cricket that are in the IPL that Indian fans are familiar with. So this is what happens. They don't get a lot of cricket back home, but because they play these franchise-based leagues like the IPL,
that kind of reflects, yes.
The Big Bash in Australia, that helps them play with the top level cricketers, get that experience, get that exposure. And that's what is now showing when they come together as a team.
Fantastic. It may be a well-deserved victory, but I hope that they do not just sit back on it, because New Zealand is coming next. And that's also a good enough team. If they beat New Zealand, I mean, that's something to then watch out for England. Nikhil Naz, as always, I appreciate you joining us and giving us your perspective. 284 for Afghanistan. 215 was what England made. They managed to bowl England team out. That's what sportsmanship, that's what the game is about. You just don't know what's happening, and working hard. And at a time, remember, Indian fans cheering for the Afghan team. That also speaks a lot about the kind of bonhomie between the teams.